This match, ladies and gentlemen, is for 2 out of 3 falls with a 30-minute time limit. 2 out of 3 falls or 30 minutes. Introducing first, and they lay claim to the title of World's Tag Team Champions. They are from parts unknown. They weigh in at 486 pounds. With their manager and advisor, Captain Willie, ladies and gentlemen, the Assassins, number 1 and number 2, the Assassin. We are still waiting momentarily for their opponents. And I heartily hope that you haven't frightened them off already.
Everybody's afraid of us, that's what it is. They're all afraid of us. Where are they? They should be here right now, Chuck. And as I was telling you before, we're the greatest, we're going to be the greatest forever. Where are they? Where are they at? Why aren't they here? Where are they? Why aren't they here? Why aren't they here right now? Where are they? That's what I mean. You see what I mean?
They're afraid of us. That's the reason. They're afraid of us.
Right,
they're afraid. I mean, they know we're going to beat them before they even get in the ring. That's the reason they don't come down. They're chicken.
They're afraid. They got to bet against somebody else.
They're chicken.
That's for Snyder and another guy in there.
That's right.
Call to your attention that they are coming down the ramp right now. 2 out of 3 falls, 30 minutes. Their opponents, ladies and gentlemen, from Indianapolis, Indiana, and from Denver, Colorado. Their combined tag weight is 473 pounds, 473. Ladies and gentlemen, Prince Pullins and Rocky Montero.
Well, there they are, Pullins and Montero versus the Assassins and their captain Willie. Montero wants at him right now. We should have a goodie. This should be an exceptionally exciting match because Rocky Montero has met the Assassins in the ring before, and so has Pullins. But never has Montero or Pullins teamed together, so we should have, I think, the best of the two against the tag team champions. The title is not at stake, although it's a 2 out of 3 fall match. Willie being verbally ordered back to the corner by the referee, and I have an inkling he's going to be frightened by more than words before this night's over. So it'll be Assassin number 1. Incidentally, this is an interesting thing here. As this match gets underway, I'll tell you that in all the matches I've ever seen, here we go, it'll be Pullins and the number 1 Assassin. All the matches that I've seen with the Assassins in them, there has been no time that I can remember where the bigger one, which is outside right now, talking to the little one inside the ring, where the bigger one has started the match. It's always been the little one that starts the match. Momentarily in the referee's hold, and a slap off the rope as Willie gets back up to his feet. Number 1 indicating something, gesturing back over the corner. I think it was because Montero was out between the ropes and he wanted him back behind the ropes before he was going to engage in any wrestling effort at all with Prince Pullins. Pullins ducked under. Here's a rapidly improving young man. He has highs and lows in the profession itself. Some days he looks very, very good. There's a good tackle. There's a hip lock, and all of that looked good. And then there are other days when he just can't put together anything. It's like a songwriter trying to compose a song, I guess. Some days he can put the right chords together, and the next day, nothing but discord. But Montero's still outside the rope as both Assassins in there momentarily on Pullins. He still comes back up to the side headlock. Look out for a push-off. A real tight one. There it is. Waits for him, turns him around and right over into the hip mare again. On the mat. Rolled over and the shoulders down for a count of 1, but Pullins with a good flail of the legs, able to keep the count off. A vice-like side headlock. You know, it's amazing. A lot of you people, into the knee, the tag, and here's number 2 assassin. A lot of you people cannot believe that these wrestlers are as big as they are. For those of you who have met me, I will tell you that I weigh about 229. I'll vary between 229 and 231 or 32. And I look like a midget as far as muscles are concerned against these guys. I'm a little bit taller than maybe 1 or 2 of them. But by no means do I have the muscle or the physical definition that they have, and yet I weigh 230. So when you see these guys in the ring, and you hear me call them off at 236, 238, and 240, believe me, those extra 8 pounds they have are all good, solid muscle. And then you get up into the size of Kiniski and Bruiser, Snyder. Snyder becoming more and more athletic as the days go on. This fellow, he officially weighs in at about 243 to 245, but I do understand, Wilbur told me once, that if he doesn't watch out, if he doesn't stay really hard on physical training, a lot of football with his family and boys in the neighborhood, and he likes to play football with the youngsters in the neighborhood, teaching the rudiments that he learned. If he doesn't stay with all this, he can go up over 250 without any trouble at all. But it's pretty hard for you to imagine men that big until you, as I said, realize if you can govern by something that's maybe more familiar to you, that I weigh about 228 to 230, 231. There's a chop right to the side of the head and another headbutt, as we've seen both Pullins and Tom Jones in the previous match use the headbutt. This is something that was made quite popular by Bobo Brazil, and just about all young Negro wrestlers coming along have used that same move. They've followed in his footsteps, and it seems to be quite effective. And I remember here's Montero trying to pull one of the assassins off. He's got the number 1 assassin by the side of the head, and believe me, there's nobody that can uncork a lethal right any more than Montero can. They have Pullins over that top rope, though. Just momentarily and long enough to crack that right to the midsection. Notice the gauntlets on the right arms, the right forearms of these assassins. Chop to the side of the head. And again, Pullins uses the headbutt. Notice he uses the side of his head. The side of his forehead. And Willie up again. And there's that right again from Montero. And now Pullins. Ooh, baby, look at those. 3 good solid ones now. He'll pummel the midsection with lefts and rights for a while and cross a couple up to the chin. And even one of the assassins likes to get in a blow on his own partner there. A couple of side headlocks now, and we'll have a railroad here in just a moment. Looks as if we may. A 1, a 2, and a 3, and a head on. 2 diesel locomotives meeting head on, and they're both down. Montero again uncorks the right to the side of the head and threatens off on the referee now. The referee indicates to him that he's winding up at the wrong one, and if he makes such a motion as he has before, he's going to go back to the dressing room. So out he goes. Out, but good. And into the ropes. We'll tie him up here as the other one tries to pull Montero from the ring. And let's see what comes next. Lefts and rights, and this one can't move at all. number 2 assassin back to his corner as a tackle from outside the ring by Pullins sets it up for the battering ram, and baby, don't try that one. There's about 235 pounds standing on you. Number 1 out through the ropes as number 2 has untwined himself over there. The tag. Montero not really caught napping, but you can't see him come from all directions. There's a slap to the side of the head, and he's using the gauntlet. You're boxing with the wrong man, Mr. Assassin, because this fellow used to spend a lot of his time as a pugilist in that ring. There's the tag. Pullins with a headbutt, a right to the chin, slides off the headlock, and picks it up from the front. Championship wrestling, it's a new era, of course, a lot of new faces, a lot of new stars, and these world's tag team champions, a perfect example of it, off the top rope with that right foot to the midsection, and we have a count, 2 and a 3, and that's it. And the time for this first fall, 10 minutes, 20 seconds, 10:20, goes to the Assassins over Prince Pullins and Rocky Montero. More to come, the second fall, in just a moment. The second fall going to get underway here in just a moment or two. First fall went to the Assassins over Prince Pullins. Rocky Montero now wanting to come in as this match, second fall, is underway. But this will not be allowed. Or will it? I guess so. I guess the referee is going to go ahead and let him wrestle, although Pullins is the one that's supposed to be in there. He lost the last fall. I guess the referee feels, though, that they need all the breaks on their side they can get. They don't really believe in being illegal on both sides, but that's the way this one happened to go. Now this gauntlet on the right hand of these Assassins, I believe, has been provoking an eye injury on Montero. He had it jabbed in his face a couple of times in the first fall, and right here at the outset of the second fall, I am quite certain that that was the gauntlet that was dragged across the face. Again, yes, sir, that's it. That right gauntlet. I've examined these, and I do know that they are made out of leather. There's a bit of padding in the heel of the hand area of that gauntlet. As far as I can see, that padding is nothing more than just reinforced leather. There have been some who have claimed that it's steel. There's a steel insert or something like that. I have not seen any steel insert. I have seen a padded area, and I do believe it is pliable. From what I could examine of it, it was pliable, which steel, of course, would not be. That gauntlet again dragged across the face now of Pullins. And he's whipped through the ropes, as both Pullins and Montero now are going to spend a little time off the apron over there. It's Montero that is the legal entry in the ring, and will be up to him to get through the ropes. More championship wrestling coming your way tonight. Don't you go away. Dick the Bruiser on the card. One of the Dolly brothers. Tony Parenti. Moose Cholak. The Assassin getting a taste of what he's been dishing out as 3 fingers grinding away at the eyes and the nose of #1 Assassin. Crossed with a right forearm there just momentarily ago, and then another drag of the fingernails and fingers across the eyes. Look at that. Well, what's done by one illegally does not make it legal for the other, and the referee is entirely within his rights to attempt to separate them. The referee cannot, if he knows what's good for him really, use any physical or any body action, any body effort at all to separate the wrestlers. The referee is protected by commission rules, which means, of course, that if he should receive any deliberate injury inside that ring, there would be suits and fines involved. This, of course, does not pertain to the wrestlers in the ring. And should the referee get some body contact in there with any one of these wrestlers, volunteered on his part, then the wrestler is quite capably allowed to defend himself, and the referee voids all this protection he has from the commission. So that's one of the reasons why they resort to the disqualification counts and why they cannot do any more than what they do a lot of times. There's a headbutt by Pullins, about the 3rd one he's thrown at both these Assassins. A nice drop kick, puts him to the mat. Let's see, we have a count of 1, that's it. There's a short right under the throat by Montero as he viciously slams the face of the Assassin to the mat. And again, Montero outside the ropes as Pullins goes for the pin. And again, the count just barely reaches 2. Over the ropes, and the disqualification count commenced. Look out here, boomerang into the rope. Goes for a tag, and Montero completely out of the corner. No opportunity to complete the tag, and it's Pullins left at the mercy of the Assassin until Montero makes that rope. Down again. This has been a pretty wild match all the way. Drag right across the eyes. There's one Assassin, although he's working against 2 men in there, seems to have pretty much the go of it. This is a good right by Montero, but he has right into the top buckle. And that'll take some of the sap out of the legs for sure. Again, as this time down to the mat. A flying mare and at the mercy of that top drop off the rope. And the clincher. 1, 2, and 3, and that's it. In 2 consecutive falls, the time on that second fall, 6 minutes and 27 seconds, 6:21. The winners in 2 consecutive falls, the Assassins with their manager, Captain Willie. More championship wrestling to come. Stick around. We'll be back in just a moment.
A time limit. 1 fall, 45 minutes. Introducing first from St. Louis, Missouri. He is a former Hoosier. He weighs 234 pounds, half the rapid rising starring Dolly brothers, ladies and gentlemen, Danny Dolly. His opponent is from Reno, Nevada. 254 pounds. He is the world's most dangerous wrestler and former world's heavyweight wrestling champion, Dick the Bruiser. Dick the Bruiser.
This should be a good one. Pandemonium A1 as Dick the Bruiser, the world's most dangerous wrestler, goes right to work on Danny Dolly from St. Louis. And this action should describe itself completely. What a phenomenon he is. I mean Bruiser, of course. Not only the most unpredictable, certainly the most dangerous. And I would say one of the most outspoken wrestlers in the world. I would put into that same category, of course, the current world's heavyweight champion, Gene Kiniski. And there are many others who could be added to this same list. As Cholak makes a fairly good attempt at telling you how good he is. The general consensus, though, is that Bruiser lives up to what he preaches, and so does Kiniski. These two are pretty much patterned alike, although I believe that there is more sentimental feeling for what Bruiser does than certainly for what Kiniski does. A couple of beefy toes right to the midsection as Bruiser again lashes Dolly back into that buckle. And again takes him down in a flying mare. And then places upon him the chin lock, which has, to my knowledge, has never received a submission from any opponent. I do remember one time, though, and I think I've mentioned this before, there was a time when I saw a hammerlock win a match. And it came so quickly after a backdrop and a heel that I very, very much doubt whether there was anything involved in that hammerlock other than just a lot of pressure put on it on an already pinched muscle or a pinched nerve, because this fellow had been taken down in the backdrop and then picked up and bealed. By that time, you could tell that he was somewhat contorted, and it was quite obvious there had been a ooh right into the buckle again. Quite obvious that there had been something pinched in his arm. And the minute that hammerlock was put on, it was more than he could stand. Well, Bruiser being counted off here again as Dolly, face first into that buckle, hangs on for dear life. Short chop to the chin. And a few fingernails right across the front of the face as Dolly comes out of the corner. This is a good match. An excellent match as he stands right up to the world's most dangerous. Flying head scissor. And Dolly hangs on, gets a count of one. And that count of one is reversed by Bruiser, who very quickly rolls Dolly's shoulders down to the mat. The Bruiser, stretching his way out of this hole, makes the break. 2:54 right on you when he gets up there. A toe to the midsection. And again, that one landing just above the heart. That one right in between the rib cages. And out of the ropes, through the ropes, goes Danny Dolly. Good-looking fellow. And a heck of a fine wrestler. There's a short right. Came off those 21.5-inch arms. This man is amazing. How big he is and how well proportioned and healthy he keeps that body of his. And I don't count him out very often. Head first, 2 times to the buckle. Look at this. Over the ropes, down with a body slam. And Dolly, who has been slowed down considerably, could be beaten right now as the brute goes to the ropes. The flying knee drop. 2 and 3. It's all over. The time, 4 minutes, 52 seconds. Just a moment, we'll have it official. 4 minutes, 52 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. 4 minutes, 52 seconds. Your winner from Reno, Nevada, the world's most dangerous wrestler, former world's heavyweight champion, Dick the Bruiser.
Call to your attention our next match, which is in the ring, at least a portion thereof is in the ring. It is scheduled for 1 fall, 15 minutes. 1 fall, 15 minutes. Introducing this gargantuan, and a real giant he is too, from Moosehead, Maine, at 310 pounds, the Golden Moose Cholak. Moose Cholak. Moosehead, Maine. His opponent is from Milan, Italy, making a long absence, returning to the ring after a long absence. He weighs in at 236 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Parenti. Tony Parenti. This is 1 fall or 15 minutes.
There's Parenti. We haven't seen him for quite some time, as I indicated. Moose Cholak will be his opponent. And this could prove to be a very interesting and worthwhile match, as Cholak, who takes every match, every opponent he meets as a warm-up for the great one, he says, coming along when he's declared the champion. And he will have to meet, for champion, of course, Gene Kiniski, but it makes no difference to him. Cholak says whether it's Kiniski, the champion, whether it's Dick the Bruiser, should he ever regain the championship, etc., 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 I am going to get it. And I think he, with an attitude like that, he very possibly might. 1 fall match, and we're just about set. Here we go. There's the bell, and we're off. Parenti, much the smaller, but he's one of the wrestlers I like to refer to as the Gary Player of wrestling. He's small, but he packs a lot of dynamite, and he certainly knows how to come up with the moves and the winning combinations. There's a rollover, a front face drag, and a rollover by Cholak. There's a dive by Parenti, and we have a lot of good mat action here. A lot to start this match off. To an arm bar, and with a smaller man, the next move would be a step over. But Cholak makes the first quick step. And Parenti, underneath now, will have to find the way out. The splits. As Cholak has taken this toe hold and really applied the leverage. Connie Marker, the referee, commanded that break for pulling the trunks. Here's a push off. Meets him right at center ring, and Parenti, who had already geared himself to fly to the ropes, suddenly found that Cholak was not off his feet. Here we go again. There's a drop kick that backs him against the ropes. So what Parenti finds does not succeed the first time, he tries the second time with a slight variation in the drop kick. Cholak is exceptionally fast. Rolling under, diving for the legs. One of the reasons why he was an All-American in college. And another reason why he was not liked too well. Much similar to the actions of Bruiser when he wrestled, or when he played football. He didn't care whether it was legal or not as long as he didn't get caught. Exchange of forearms right there in the center of the ring, and off again goes Parenti to the ropes. Has backed Cholak up slightly, but he responds quickly and comes up into the wrestling hold. Toe to the midsection. And another drag. Cholak holding the left arm of Parenti out to the side. He has the fingers extended, has not made a move to that hand as yet. As Connie watches all the action. There's a couple of good solid stomps right into the wrist. And again, it's legal. It's using the flat of the extremity, the flat of the hand, the flat of the foot. Boy, listen, talk about a ring giving. It sure gives when 330 goes down on it like that. And the shoulders down for a count of 1. As Parenti, with the leg lock, goes to work on the big beef. Cholak wrestles in golden boots, a sort of golden wrestling combination, black trunks, gold vest, and gold tights. And has made quite a bit of money off the identification as the Golden Moose. A bear hug on Parenti as he puts Tony back into the ropes right in front of us, and then uncorks a solid right to the stomach. Parenti fights off the rope, meets him at center ring with a knee lift, and to the neutral corner. Marker allows him back to his feet. Connie's not too big, and if he doesn't stay out of the way, he could get in a lot of trouble in that ring. Into an arm bar, as the Moose shows some good wrestling tactics and knowledge. Arm bar and wrist lock. There's a chop off the ropes by Parenti. Another forearm smash puts the Moose down on his knees. Parenti moving in. There's a pretty good indication of how big that guy is. Boy, he's a monster. Head first. Your big wrestlers of today, big not only in stature but big in name, use their feet a great deal. There's a judo chop by Cholak, as this match, which many thought would not last this long, has stayed on a pretty even keel so far. Armbar by Parenti, and he takes him down with it. Parenti really twisting it back. And again. Cholak back to his feet. Face first into that top rope. Takes him out again as Parenti goes out of the ropes, this time right past us, and is laying off the apron. There's the big one from Moosehead, Maine. And now you can see how much he overshadows the size of the referee. Down again goes Parenti, and Marker really walks him back. He says, "You let him in the ring or I'm going to count you out." Count has reached 6, 7. Only 2-7 as Parenti tries to bull his way back in with a tackle, makes it, steps through the ropes. And now Cholak wants to think it over. Couple of quick lightning jabs there by Cholak. Ducking under with a real fine move. Parenti comes up, pops a couple of good rights to the top of the head, and remember now, Cholak wearing these ear guards, and Parenti is slapping that right hand in there, about as solid as any I've ever seen. Ooh, into the knee. And speaking of the ear guard, he used it there. The big splash, and down he goes. 1, 2, 3. It's all over. This match, 5 minutes and 21 seconds. 5:21. Your winner.
It's the Amphitheater, February 12th, 1972. Bruiser and Seaman Thomas as a tag team here at the Amphitheater. And this is really going to be a tough one, let me tell you. And what have we got in that audience? We got 11,500 jammed in, packed like sardines, fans screaming and yelling. That's right. One of the biggest houses in the history of wrestling in Chicago. Of course, then, the only game in town was the stadium or the Amphitheater. And, of course, at the Amphitheater, the capacity was around 10,007, so we packed in 11,500 this night. I want to tell you, they were standing on their heads. We had them all over. We had them hanging from the rafters at the Amphitheater this night. And I want to tell you, two finer specimens you would never find than Dick the Bruiser and Seaman R. Thomas. Seaman R. Thomas. Look at that body. Oh, wow. Look at that body. Seaman R. Thomas. That's the Black Adonis of the map. That's right. In those days, fans, everybody loves Seaman Thomas. Now, this is the same Seaman Thomas that in 1959 and 1960 packed over like 35,000 people in Sox Park to watch him wrestle. Buddy Rogers and some other tough dudes. That's right, 59 and 60. Now here we are in 1972. Seaman Thomas doesn't look a day older, and he's in there with Dick the Bruiser as his partner. And the fans love these two. They love Dick the Bruiser and Seaman Thomas. Oh, man, every time they appear, they come out. Just like this night, 1972. It's February 12th. And in Sapporo, Japan, they have the 11th Winter Olympics going on. And let me tell you, it doesn't look too good for the Americans at the Olympics in Sapporo. We're a little behind at this moment. And let's see what else was going on in 1972 on February the 12th. Phil Esposito and Bobby Orr were leading the Boston Bruins, and they were at 38, 8, and 8. Terrific, huh? Esposito had 46 goals and Orr 25. Wow. Doug Buffone had just signed a contract for $40,000. Boy, if Doug Buffone, hey, I'll tell you, in 1972, $40,000. He was the premier linebacker for the Bears then. Well, the prices here at the Amphitheater were 3, 4, 5, and 6. Can you believe that, fans? Today the prices are up around whatever, right? Then at the Amphitheater, if you wanted to go to see wrestling, it was from $3 to $6, depending on where you wanted to sit. $6 gave you the best seat in the house, down in front. And there was where Bobby Heenan was sitting, in the corner down front. He was managing the Blackjacks this night. This was 1972, the same year, of course, that we had two big events happen in the Blackjacks' lives. Number one, Lanza got his leg broke early on in the year, and Dick the Bruiser took full credit for that. Later on, they met at Soldier Field in that incredible cage match. The Blackjacks, Bruiser, and the Crusher. Tonight, however, we have Seaman R. Thomas in there. Seaman Thomas. In this particular match, in 1972, Seaman Thomas got hurt towards the end of the match. And the Bruiser had to bring in his pal, the Crusher, on the following show to sort of even the score. But here we can see Seaman looking fit as a fiddle in against Blackjack Lanza and Mulligan with Bruiser as his partner. And they're doing fine at this point in the game. And at this point in the game, let me just say that this is the Hall of Fame Classics. And I'm Bob Luce, your host. and moderator. And I want to tell you one thing. A lot of folks, it's hard to tell anybody where you're at a particular day in your life, especially when you're looking back. But looking back at this night at the amphitheater, February the 12th, 1972, I could tell you unequivocally, I was at the amphitheater, right at the ringside, watching this match. Look at this. Seaman Thomas is really getting powered on. Now, Mulligan, Blackjack Mulligan, of course, his real name, Bob Wyndham. Hey, he was a product of Alabama, one of Bear Bryant's big, rough, tough linemen. Went on to play with the New York Jets, so you know that he's tough and rough. Blackjack Lanza, well, he's another story. Come out of Texas, rough and tough, and he was one tough hombre. Blackjack Lanza, and he could take it, let me tell you. You know, when he got his leg broke, I tell you, all he did is lay in the hospital bed and cuss Bruiser. That's all he used to do. That's all he did. Hey, the nurses used to go in, and he wanted to even, you know what I mean? He was hard to control. Doctors want to talk to him, and they want to beat him up all the time. Lanza just waited for the day that he could make revenge, and that was, of course, that came later on in this year, 1972. But for now, Lanza's in one piece, and he's having a big time with the Bruiser. They're pounding each other in the corner there at the International Amphitheater. A great match here. And this was one of the premier matches in Chicago in 1972. Hey, tickets were scalping probably for $100, $200 bucks. That's a lot of money then when the price was $6. But in those days, if you wanted to get down in front to see the Bruiser and in action with the Crusher, for instance, or even with Thomas against the Blackjacks, you had to pay big money if you couldn't buy the $6 ticket. And this show was sold out 2 weeks before, so let me tell you, this was the premier ticket in Chicago, February 12th, 1972. This was where it's at. People were here. Hey, there was 2,000 or 3,000 outside, right? They couldn't get in, and we had to call local commander, police commander, and have him send some reinforcements down to put up the barricades so they didn't break the doors down at the amphitheater and come storming in. Yeah, you know, a lot of our security. Oh, wait, what happened there? A double knockout in the ring. Whoa, somebody got their signals crossed. I was just going to tell you. A lot of our security we put on the doors trying to keep the people out who were out in the street trying to get in that didn't have tickets. And, you know, so we split our security forces up. Half of them at the door and half of them at the ring in case there was a riot. But here you see Bobby Heenan has got himself hurt, and Blackjacks, they've got some kind of problem here. Maybe Heenan called the wrong signal because they just crashed like two locomotives crashing in the middle of the night. And now we have, you notice those little decals or those things on their trunks there. That's their brand, the Blackjacks brand. A perfect way to describe this. Bruiser and Crusher versus the Blackjacks. March 4th, 1972. Boy. Further on down the road, a few more months, and Blackjack got the leg broke. But for now, he's all in one piece, and he's in there against Bruiser and the Crusher, he and his pal Mulligan. And let me tell you, these two guys, I mean, Bruiser and the Crusher, they are awesome. Awesome is the right word, let me tell you. Dangerous, awesome, explosive. Look at that, look at that. There was something going on at this time in history in Chicago in 1972 that defied description, because this was where it was at. The fans couldn't get enough of this. They wanted to see Bruiser and the Crusher versus the Blackjacks. Oh, boy, I tell you, unemployment was at its highest level since 1962 in this particular year and this particular month. It was at 5%. Would you believe that? 5%. That was the highest level since 1962. Now, listen to this. Average weekly earnings of the rank and file in 1972 on March the 4th, the night of this show. $130 a week is what the average weekly earnings was of the rank and file. I'll tell you, and that's who we had there that night, the rank and file. right? And you know we had 11,600 people, and the amphitheater originally only held 9,700. Then we got it up to 10,500. So you can tell me, and you can be right, we were pushing it this night. They were in there like sardines. They were hanging from the rafters. Wall-to-wall people at the amphitheater, but we didn't care because we wanted to get them in. And we had 50 security men at the doors, keeping 3,000 people out that wanted to get in. Hey, and the rest of them were trying to tell them to go on home, but they stayed on. So the commander of the police district had to send in reinforcements to keep everything in order because we didn't want the joint to go up for grabs. We're at the amphitheater, inside, in the ring, where all the action is. Look at this, 11,600 inside, screaming and yelling for blood. 3,000 outside in the streets. The police trying to keep order. What a night this was. I was safe and sound at the ringside. I don't know how safe and sound, but I was at the ringside, fans. That's where I was watching this one, and this was rough and tough. And look I tell you, the fans that were watching this, they knew that later on, down the road, somewhere, the confrontation was going to come, and that was going to be at Soldier Field. At that time, we didn't know that we were going into Soldier Field, but I tell you, it was in the cards because nothing could stop this team. They wanted to hurt each other so bad, so you knew it had to end up in the cage. But for now, here we are, and Stephen Thomas, of course, in the previous match, Bruiser was his partner, had gotten hurt at the end of the match. We didn't show that to you, but he did get hurt in that match, unfortunately. But, let me tell you, the Crusher was right there. The Crusher was right there because the Crusher and the Bruiser are cousins. Wait a minute, hold it. Hey, what is this? They just dropped Bruiser on the top rope and Bruiser on his neck. Wait a minute, and they're counting 1, 2, wait a minute, hold it. Hold up, no, that's the Crusher. Whoa, I thought that was the Bruiser. They just dropped him. Oh, look at those guys. They're all standing there with their hand raised in the air. Wait a minute, hold the phone. Hey, wait a minute, I gotta call somebody. There they are, the Blackjacks. Mulligan and Lanza have just done in one of the premier wrestlers of the age. That's right, the Crusher. They dropped him on the top rope. Whoa, you're gonna pay for that. You're gonna pay for that, boys. The Bruiser's standing there. Whoa, would I hate to be in there. I'll tell you something. I wouldn't take $1 million to go in that ring right now. But Percy Franklin, he's the referee. He's got to be in the ring. Percy, I want to tell you, this is going to be rough and tough from here on out. And we'll be back with more. And Percy Franklin, the referee, is trying to keep things in order here. It's Bruiser and the Crusher versus the Blackjacks, March 4th, 1972. And we just saw the Crusher lose that first fall. And I want to tell you, I don't want to be in Blackjack's shoes at this point. Crusher is starting out the second fall, of course, being as he got pinned on the first fall. But now, you see what's happened to him. He's down. He's been beaten down, and he's getting first aid and some comfort from an equally beaten down Mulligan. And the Crusher is showing him where it's at. The man that made Milwaukee famous, the wrestler, that is, that made Milwaukee famous, and the world's most dangerous wrestler, Dick the Bruiser, the awesome tag team of the century. Hey, he just stuck both thumbs in Lanza's eye, and Lanza is blinded. Back in the corner. And now the Crusher moving in against Mulligan. Mulligan, one big dude, let me tell you. Blackjack Mulligan. Rough and tough. One of the tough guys. I told you about Mulligan, that he came out of Alabama. Well, he's 6'8", 280 pounds. And that's a lot of meat on the hoof there, baby. A lot of muscle, a lot of brawn. But look, he takes a good kick right to the chops. Bruiser always sort of softens him up with that and makes them believers. Now he's pummeling in the corner of the rope. Bruiser working over Blackjack Mulligan, while Blackjack Lanza is sort of questioning whether he should get into the action. And now we're going at it. Percy Franklin, one of the great referees of distinction in Illinois, moving in, waiting to see what's going to happen next. And here it is. Bruiser just took him outside the ring, and now he's throwing him back in the ring. And let me tell you, that's at no extra charge. If you were in the first row, we didn't collect extra money if we've got the wrestler out there on your lap. Hey, that was no extra charge for that. Let me tell you, a lot of the fans loved it, right? Hey, there goes Mulligan down again, and those fans in the first row say, shoot him out to me, Bruiser. And there's Lanza. He wants a tag, but Mulligan doesn't even know where he's at, I don't think. This is rough and tough action at the amphitheater, and the date is March 4th, 1972. This is the place where it's all happening, right here, fans. Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher, the awesome tag team, later on in this year will appear in the most brutal tag team match I've ever seen in my life, and that was in the cage against the Blackjacks. But for now, look at this. Oh, Bobby Heenan just took a belt, and now we're in the corner with the action, and I tell you, it's really exciting here at the amphitheater. Where were you, fans, on this particular day in history? Let me tell you, if you weren't inside the amphitheater seeing this action, you missed it all. This is what it's all about. This is when, hey, I tell you, they used to send us heart patients to make them well, because I tell you, after seeing this, you didn't need a revival. Hey, you went out of here a happy man. The Bruiser and the Crusher, look at them sitting on top of them. Oh, wow. Hey, they just done the job. There they were all piled up in the middle of the ring. The Bruiser and the Crusher. And I tell you, this is a great one. This is a terrific match. This is one for the book. Look at this. Lanza's been hurt. Lanza's been cut, and Lanza is bleeding. Remember what I told you, fans? When the Crusher got pinned by some twist of fate, I said, look out. Well, you see what happened. They're getting their hands raised, but I tell you something. They lost the match because they were disqualified, the Bruiser and the Crusher. See? Crusher and Billy Red Cloud versus the Blackjacks and Dusty Rhodes. It's June the 10th, 1972. June the 10th, fans. And right, you guessed it, there's wall-to-wall people packed in like sardines here at the International Amphitheater to see this one, because Billy Red Cloud has joined the Bruiser and the Crusher. The match they said could not be signed has been signed, and that's Dusty Rhodes. Now he's on the other side of the fence. That's right. He's teaming with the Blackjacks. Remember, at one time he had teamed with the Crusher. Ho, ho. So how things do change in the wrestling game. And here you can see a big change, because it's Billy Red Cloud joining forces with the awesome twosome, Bruiser and the Crusher. And they're having a lot of fun this night, and so are the fans. The fans packed in like sardines, hanging from the rafters. I want to tell you, this was the big ticket in town, and it didn't cost a lot of money either. Hey, prices 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can't beat that. That's right. And it's a great night for wrestling at the amphitheater. June the 10th, fans. Hey, Hank Aaron hit his 649th homer on this date in 1972. That put him in second place behind Babe Ruth on the all-time list. And listen, the All-Star game was set for Soldier Field July 28th. Coach was Bob Devaney, and the All-Stars were going to go against the Dallas Cowboys. Now listen to this. Ticket prices for the All-Star game in 1972 were 5, 7, and 10. Wow, 5, 7, and 10. Not bad. I'm charging 3, 4, 5, and 6 to see this, and this is worth seeing the All-Stars in Dallas play, because this is more rock'em sock'em than that game was going to be. Hey, this is where it's at. Boy, I should have scaled this a little higher, I think. Looking back at this great night, boy, I tell you, you were sitting right in the first row if you had $6. That's right, $6 bought your first row ticket. Look at that. Billy Red Cloud is doing the Indian war chant dance, the Indian victory dance, because they'd taken that fall. And here now, Dusty, the American Dream, is having trouble. He's winding up, but he's hitting air. That's all right, Dusty. Dusty, the American Dream. At this time in history, 1972, he was a name to be considered, a name to be reckoned with in the professional wrestling game. I'll tell you. Very popular guy. In fact, in Texas, he was a hero. But as he got more towards the Midwest and then went into the East, I tell you, he got more bad. And he was real bad this night. He's in there with the Blackjacks. And there's Dick the Bruiser, the world's most dangerous wrestler. And he's having a time. Wait a minute, they got him cornered in the ring over there, and they're all beating on him. They're all beating on him, and wait a minute, we got 2 referees. That's right, fans. We spared no expense for this match. 2 referees. The Illinois State Athletic Commission said, wait a minute, 2 referees? We said, yeah, you got to watch things inside and outside the ring. So we got 2 of them in there. Hey, look at him. One guy's in the corner counting, and the other guy's on the other side trying to keep order. Now, look at that. Look at him punching him. Hey. And now he just found out. Rhodes just found out you can't hurt Bruiser. You can punch him all night. Hey, there, a good right hand, and there's Dusty. Dusty is... Dusty's being dusted. Yes, sirree, Bob. Let me tell you. And a nice powerhouse there, Dick the Bruiser. Never one to come up short-handed when it come to giving them power punches. He loved to give you it in the chops. Dick the Bruiser spared no punishment. There he is working. Now they got Blackjack. No, that's Mulligan trapped in the corner. Here we go, over the shoulder, and Bruiser coming in for the pin. A 1, a 2, and in comes Blackjack. Lanza interfering in the match, as he usually does. As the match rolls along, these guys wrestled together as a team for a long time, and therefore they know each other like a book. And therefore they know when to tag in. They know when to come into the other's aid. And in this case, they're trying to keep Bruiser from pounding on him too hard. And there, now we got Bruiser again pounding on Rhodes. Yes, sir. You got to remember that Murdoch was Rhodes' partner at one time. Hey, it's Dusty, the American Dream, and the referee now making the announcement. And it looks like another fall there. Wait a minute. Bruiser's coming over to talk to his partner. The time's rolling down. It's the International Amphitheater, the Hall of Fame Classics. Wow, this is a great one. At the amphitheater, it's Cowboy Bob Ellis versus Ernie Ladd, March 9th, 1973. Match is underway, and Cowboy Bob just laid it on Big Ernie Ladd, 6'9", 315 pounds. Let me tell you, Ernie's mom was 6 foot tall, 245 pounds. His dad was 6'6", 265. In Orange, Texas, where he was born and raised, they grow him big, brother. And let me tell you, Ernie the Big Cat Ladd, hey, he went on to play really big-time football. First at Grambling, and his idol was Tank Younger, then the L.A. Rams fullback. He was a great standout performer, the Big Cat. In college, drafted by the Bears, the 4th round, 16th round for San Diego. He selected the American Football League, and he went ahead and won the All-Star team berth that freshman year. And let me tell you, he also played for the Kansas City Chiefs, their world championship team. Look at this action in Chicago. Cowboy Bob Ellis, 6'3", 235 pounds, no slouch, used to rodeo wrestle them Brahma bulls. That's right, he was a bulldogging cowboy on the big-time rodeo circuit, so he's handled them Brahma bulls that weighed over 1,500 pounds. So you know that he can handle himself in there. He was in the paratroopers at 50. The match is being manhandled by the bulldogging Texan. That's right, Cowboy Bob Ellis. The cowboy that always wore the white hat. Yes, sir, Cowboy Bob was a gentleman. I mean a gentleman. True to the Texas style. And let me tell you, they're proud of Cowboy Bob in Texas. San Angelo. Born and bred and raised on a 300-acre ranch in San Angelo. And let me tell you, they still talk about Cowboy Bob Ellis out in Texas. Here you can see Big Bob still stretching that arm. Now lad's starting to make it to his feet here. Ellis has got it on him, stretching him good. But Ellis is coming up. Ellis is climbing. He's climbing. Ellis has got him, but lad is climbed to his feet. And wait a minute, now he's put the pressure on Ellis. Was that a good move, fans? Hey, listen. He played great tackle with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was an all-star. But let me tell you, he's got some good moves in that wrestling ring. He was fast. That's why he was such a great tackle with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's why he was an AFL superstar. Made super money, mega bucks. Because look at the thighs on that man. Look at the thighs. Hey, perfectly built. That's why he made them big bucks, because he was tough. Now, he's using that thumb. See, that was one of his favorite moves. He had his thumb taped, see? And he'd shove, or should I say, jam that thumb into your throat. And I want to tell you, many as a wrestler went down with that jab because they couldn't breathe. Jabbed it into your throat a few times. This big 6'9", 315-pounder. And I mean, let me tell you, take a few of those jabs and you can't breathe. In this case, you see Cowboy Bob Ellis has lost some steam now. And wait a minute now. But wait a minute, Lad's hiding something here. Lad is a rough guy, you see. We're talking about rough and tough. And he's making some bad moves there. He was just choking Cowboy Bob, and the referee was trying to spot it, and finally did. But look at here. You see, ooh, into that judo chop into the throat. And Ellis is taking punishment in Chicago at the end. Oh, Bob just came back. Just came back with a punch. Now another one, and another one to a left to Ernie Ladd's stomach, and into the corner he goes. And fans, we've got action. We've got thrills at the International Amphitheater. Oh, there's the bulldog and headlock that made him famous. There it was, fans. That's the old Brahma bulldog and headlock. That's right. He used that in the rodeo circuit, but when he'd grab them steers and throw them down to the turf in them rodeo rings. Listen, fans, we showed you some great high spots here in Chicago, some great highlights of this match, Ellis against Ladd. There's another bulldog and headlock by Cowboy Bob. And let me tell you, fans, this match roared on to no decision here in Chicago at the Amphitheater on March the 9th, 1973, fans. This is the Hall of Fame Wrestling Classics from Chicago.